What's up, everybody? This is Natalee, Reko, and Hector, and we are so pumped to have you here on the Club 23 podcast. This is the best place on the internet for you to get your AI news, so let's jump in.
All right, today we have a fun show. Today we're discussing how people can steal your face and voice, and can you do anything about it? Hector, our man, is going to share with us how he manipulates branding through Midjourney and how you can talk to Jesus. Let's do this.
Yeah. So starting off, we're going to check out a video from will.i.am about stealing identities and faces. What's up with that? Reko, you want to drop that?
Yes, I do. Let's go.
When it comes to AI and mimic machines, none of us own our face and none of us own our voice. I own the publishing to my songs. You could copyright and you could create NDAs to protect your IP. But when it comes to you, every human being, walking in the age of AI, who owns our essence and our likeness? And why aren't we talking about that enough? The Drake AIs, yeah, it was a buzz and it's still going to continue to buzz. But shouldn't Drake own his likeness and his essence? Why is that legal? Why is it legal that Biggie Smalls is rapping a Tupac verse that was actually about him? Like, why is that? I can't take a Nike swoosh. Nike owns a swoosh, but I don't own my face and my voice. Beyonce don't own her face and her voice, but Adidas owns stripes. Something's not right for people.
Wow.
Super interesting.
That music, though. Wow. So sad now.
So sad.
I'm going to cry.
It makes you think, though. I mean, like the life of a celebrity, I mean, I think about it as a character, right? There's a persona that they have that all of us know and love and build this relationship with, but they're people too, right? They've got their own things going on. And for, you know, I can't imagine what it'd be like to see your own self being manipulated and you, like your likeness, your essence being used by other people. That doesn't feel right to me.
And, you know, I mean, that Drake thing went viral. So if you guys heard the song, you know, it wasn't Drake singing. They created the verses and then they used his voice through, I forget which app. And the song was awesome. Like, people were like, dude, this is fire. This is great. But it's not Drake.
Yeah.
And he's not making money off of it. And it's his voice. And we're all tuning in to listen to it because of Drake.
So who owns them? Who owns that? Is it because they have representation? Is it because when you sing, right, you have an agent, right? You have somebody representing you and building you up. Is that why we're talking about this? Why this even exists in
the whole thing?
You know?
Well, I think the whole discussion now is what are the legal rights? Because Hector and I went to an AI conference, and that was one of the things that lawyers said. They're like, this is all brand new territory.
Yeah.
We don't have laws right now that protect people from AI because it never existed before. There's no reason to create a law when it doesn't really pertain to society. Well, now it does. And beyond celebrities, what if they stole your face, Natalee, or your face, Hector, and they use it for a brand that cannabis, stuff that you probably aren't into or something that's negative? How would you feel?
Yeah, I mean, I think,
that's true.
Yeah, you're right. Like, there's obviously the simple answer is there's not laws to protect people because this has never been an issue, but it's a complex issue. And, you know, perhaps let's just pretend that the intent behind the Drake song was for entertainment. It was all in good fun, but that impacts people, right? Like, and I think when people start to care about it is when there's maybe safety involved, maybe money being exchanged. Like, that's when people start to say, whoa, pump the brakes. We got to put some definitions around this.
Yeah. Well, in the video, I think they're talking about celebrity, right? But this can happen to anybody. Like you said, Reko, what if it was me or you, Nat, right? I mean, that's not cool, right? I mean, I get the celebrity part because their likeness is that's how they make money. That's how they feed their families, right? By acting and singing and performing, and there's agents. So it's kind of, they're easy pickings, but what about the rest of 99.9% of us who aren't, you know, A-list celebrities and, you know.
Well, even deepfakes with politics, right? Like next year's election.
Yeah.
What? You know, it's such a manipulation of what's true and what people stand for and represent. And it's going to cause chaos. And each
Actually, it's
individually,
true.
you're gonna have to
Yeah.
figure out the truth, right?
That's why we're doing what we're doing, because
Yeah.
we want to kind of find the good side of things and not promote those bad sides. I mean, I think we want to
And
build a community of like-minded people.
Yes, and be informed, right? Like, be
Yeah.
informed about the bad, but I agree. Like, there's so much good to come from this. But there's always going to be the bad.
Yeah. But if you
Yeah.
think about it, let's go back to just that, what he said, Nike. If I use Nike in a movie, or if I use any brand without their permission, or even art in a movie or a TV show, I can get sued for not having the clearances.
Yeah.
And even if I use actors or I film someone and I don't have their permission, I have to get contracts to use your likeness. But if you manipulate it through AI, because there's a bunch of content of you, like let's say Gary Vaynerchuk, there's a ton of content out there of Gary V. And if someone decided, oh, I'm going to take his face and his video and his audio and start promoting my business as though Gary V's promoting me, and people see
that's
it,
not okay.
that's not okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, there's some gray area people doing that now, right?
Yeah. And so these are things that are going to be big concerns. And I think it's only going to get worse.
Well, even think about movies, right? Like Spider-Man has been in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and he's not been in it, right? And it's because they had to sell the rights, get the rights to use a character in a movie. It's the same thing, isn't it? Like, we are... Our essence, our identity could be seen as like a character. Who has the right to use that?
Wow, deep.
Yeah, no, it is. And then what they're doing with AI to create fictional characters or just people as avatars is they'll use, let's say, all three of our faces and have AI create a different being that has resemblance to us, but it isn't us. And now that being can be an influencer. And that's going to be another world that we're going to step into.
That's crazy.
The
Yeah, we
AI
were with...
influencer.
Yeah, remember when we were at the REF conference and Patrick Schwarzenegger was talking and he was showing that there was these models that you can replicate. You can have any type of model that you want: a child, a family, red hair, blonde hair, blue eyes, green eyes, whatever, taller, wider, whatever. You can create anything with AI, and somebody, a human, might just look just like that and go, hey, that's my likeness. That looks just like me. Same freckles, same suntan, you know?
Yeah.
Pretty bizarre.
And I don't know.
Where do we draw those lines?
For me, I feel like it's weird that, like, the truth is people are going to be building relationships. They already are building relationships with AI. And it's like, it's not even real. What happens when you go through your whole life and you're like, dude, my friends are like robots? I don't know. It's crazy to me.
But it's going to have Her, the movie Her is coming. It's coming to fruition. It's actually happening. And we're seeing it happen. We're like in the stages of the incubation of this idea.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I had an intern, we were doing a TV show and I had a couple of interns. And one of them, he was telling me how he had all these friends that were YouTubers and they were really big and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, great. Can you get me in touch with them? Because I want to work with some of these influencers. Come to find out, they weren't really friends. He followed them on YouTube. And because they commented back to him, in his mind, they were friends. And that was a moment back in 2013 where I was like, this is really weird.
Wow.
This guy is thinking he's best friends with these people, but they never met. They don't hang out. It's just because they respond to his comment. I think people will be doing that with AI at another level.
Yeah.
It is next level right now. Yeah. People are considering, I know people and they're like, yeah, I get friends over here, over there. They've never met. And I guess, I mean, that's just how things are now, right? You don't go on a traditional date ever anymore. Everything is online.
Yeah.
You know, people get married and where'd you meet? Online.
Can you imagine even like the opportunity in the future of like, there could be an entire industry just dedicated to maintaining the security of your identity, right?
Wild.
Like, was there like an entire police force or something that like the identity police force, you know, or whatever? Like, oh my gosh. So
our
much
identities
opportunity
are
out there.
everywhere. There's cameras everywhere tracking our every movement.
Yeah.
So our faces are everywhere. So, and shoot, we're doing a podcast right now. So
You're
our
right,
face
yeah, right.
and our voice are out there. So if you're going to clone us, you better pay us.
Yeah, there you go.
We do not give you permission.
Bring that cheddar, baby.
And Hector, I'm excited to see what you have in store for us. Before we start, I want to let our audience know that you own your own award-winning branding and packaging agency. And we've all seen some of these brands on the shelves of our favorite grocery store. Would you mind telling us some of the brands that you've worked with? Are you okay to share that with us?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I'll just give you the quick highlight. We've worked with Fortune 100 brands. We've worked with #1 brands in the world. And our products literally adorn the shelves of virtually every grocery, big box, and convenience store across the country and beyond. So, I mean, I'm just truly blessed that I've been able to have a career that spanned 25 years, and we continue to evolve. So we create multi-sensory packaging. So we're hardwired for visual and tactile. So when you touch something, your haptic brain just kind of explodes with emotion. So on the shelf, I have to do everything to get my clients to compete against, there's a sea of likeness in, you name what category, whether it's
cereal. Let's go with cereal. I mean,
cereal,
like
yeah.
That's like a whole
2
aisle
aisles
in
worth.
itself. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So how do you stand out on the shelf? Well, you have to have a point of difference. So visually, initially, right, you can see it, but then if we can add some element to it that looks different, like a high shine, gloss area, if I can get you to pick that up and then touch it and there's something tactile about it, if it feels different, we're hardwired to have a sense of ownership. It's crazy. I mean, I talked to you, both of you guys about it. I think I talked to you, Natalee, first, and I'm like, dude, do you remember when you saw your husband for the very first time and he was smiling at you and there was some sense of emotion around that, right?
Oh, yeah.
And the first time he wrapped his arms around you, that's a whole nother experience. Well, that happens in packaging as well. So I like to communicate that to my clients, and sure, it costs more. But you know what? Once they pick it up, it's like the Apple phone box, right? Or any Apple product. Most of us have 3, 4, 5 boxes because it feels so nice, right?
Isn't it weird?
Yeah, I totally do.
Yeah,
they
because I
serve no
remember seeing
purpose.
they don't, but I
Yeah.
remember they spend so much money on just even having it do that little pop sound when you open it, like when you
Oh,
open your
yeah.
MacBook Pro.
To like
That's it.
pull
Yeah,
off. Oh,
and I was like,
Uh,
all for experience. That's great. But let's see what you did, because you took one brand that we are familiar with at the grocery store and then you
Yeah.
refreshed it for us. So you're gonna have
Yeah.
to explain what you've done,
Cool.
because I think this
Let's
is
do it.
awesome.
and I think this
Yeah,
is so
pull it
cool
up.
because I don't have any idea how to use Midjourney. Like, I literally have no clue how you did what you did here. And so this is it's masterful. I think it's so awesome.
Awesome. Thank you. Well,
So tell us what we're looking at here.
yeah. Well, I took a Krusty's box that's out in the grocery store, and on the left is the original box, right? Looks fine. Looks cool. All we
Pancakes.
did,
These
it's
pancakes.
pancakes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what I naturally do is take a look at the competitors. When I do what I do with packaging, I specialize in food and beverage, but I take a look at all the competitors, right? I'm like, okay, what are they doing? And what can I do to up one on that? So if Krusty's came to me and said, hey, sales are slacking a little bit, can we, up the image or something? We created this entirely, that image that you see on the right, we created it in Midjourney. And it's prompting kind of like ChatGPT.
Oh, my word.
So we just want to make an improved version of it. It's a refresh. In this particular case, if Krusty's came to us and they said, hey, we want to improve the package, I would go, okay, you don't want to alienate any of your core customers, so let's not make a big shift. Krusty's is a known brand for years and years and years, so you've got a following, you've got a core customer. Let's not alienate them. We'll just make a slight shift in that. Now, historically, when I'm talking history, I'm talking like 12 months ago. If I wanted to do that in a photo studio, I got to call my bro John up and go, hey, dude, you got natural light in your studio. You got all the cameras set up. I'm going to have Krusty send you a bunch of pancake mix, get your girl that's doing the food styling to get some butter, get some, fresh fruit. Oh, strawberries aren't in season. We're not going to be able to get red strawberries. That's an issue. We may have to, you got to figure out how to plan all this stuff. Got to get the client to send stuff to the photo studio, line up the photographer schedule with the food stylist.
Oh my
How
gosh.
much would this cost?
How many
Like,
things?
this is sounding,
Dude,
this
dude.
right now is sounding expensive.
And then I got to roll over there, right? Spend a full day to shoot this. We're talking 10 grand
Dang.
around there. Could be more. So
Wow.
to shoot this. because, maybe the pancakes aren't just right. Maybe, there's too much syrup and we got to do it again and again and again. Maybe the lighting isn't right. Plus the client might go, oh, too many berries, too much butter.
Redo.
Wow.
Here's $10,000 day.
No, but so you
Take
did
that
all
blueberry
this.
off.
So the one on the left, that's the original. That's what's out there right now.
Yeah.
Are those
correct?
And I also notice because I do commercials and I work with sometimes we've done food stuff. Sometimes that isn't real food. Sometimes it's different things.
Most of the time
like
it's not.
Play-Doh or whatever they use.
Yeah, they use.
Yeah.
They'll do different things because like real foam in a beer doesn't stay there, so they have to use like
Correct.
soap and something else.
Yeah.
So with this, that is a picture of like the pancakes. You did Midjourney, and then you made them fluffier, prettier.
I
The
know,
syrup.
they
I
look
mean,
good.
that syrup and the lighting on it just looks beautiful compared to the other one where it almost feels it's already sunken into the pancake.
Right.
And the strawberry looks a lot better too.
Yeah. It's more.
It looks like it smells good. Is that weird?
No, you're right. It does. It really,
Right?
like, to me, if I, Natalie, you and I, since we're both looking at this, which one would you pick up?
Oh, the right
Which
one
box?
for sure. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I'm like, and you did that through Midjourney. That
Yes,
is telling me the world is changing so quickly that
it's
you-
incredible.
You can give me different versions, which you did. Can I
Yes.
show the other ones?
Yeah,
But is it-
absolutely.
But here's my question: because if I were to make this, I'd be like, make a stack of pancakes that looks really good and has a strawberry on top with butter and syrup. But I imagine that's not what you did.
It's not what we did. Yeah, there's certain prompts that we do, and we actually included the prompt in there. But
Oh, shoot. You're right. We have the prompts here.
so I had my designer do an initial one, and it looked good. But there's just certain things. I want the pat of butter to be slightly melted. I want to put an environment in the background, and I want it falling out of focus. And some of the prompts that I do, unless you're in my business, you could be smart, you can know how to use Midjourney, but you don't know what I know, the human factor, right? And
Right.
the experience that I've got. So we know, how about a little bit of, powdered sugar, just a little tad on there, just to entice you to go,
that now,
ooh, that
yeah.
looks sweet, right?
Yeah.
Let's have a little
Well,
bit
see,
of syrup
this is
falling
why
out of focus in the background. Yeah.
Like, AI is a tool. As much as I've talked to different people, and I know you guys have too, they're afraid, but I'm like, no, it's just a tool. You still need a human to come up with a creative, to prompt it, to visualize. And
Yeah.
you have to have a person who understands that industry. So it's not just some Joe Schmo coming up and going, okay, let me do your branding.
Yeah.
What do you know about branding? First of all, nothing. Then no, you need to go to someone who knows it, like Hector. I mean, that image is amazing. And I can't believe
Yeah.
that's all done through Midjourney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at the pour on there. If you're pouring live, dude, pour too much, pour too little. No, pour has to be, wider, narrower. You go through many iterations. And
Was
guess
there like
what?
a 1 second window to get the right amount of pour that's like
Oh,
already
yeah.
on the plate and not,
Yeah.
like,
And
that's
there's all
cool.
kinds of tips and tricks that happens in food styling, right? This probably
Yeah.
would be the most challenging would be to make sure the butter is slightly melted and that the pour is nice. This is all artificial. There's no camera involved here. It's
And this
incredible.
is all Midjourney. And then you're also using Adobe Firefly, which Adobe Firefly
Yes.
can do a lot of amazing things,
Mm.
which I've
Yes.
been playing with.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah,
that?
so
What's
much-
that tool? Is that like a Photoshop?
Yeah, it's beta.
Or-
And it within Photoshop. And here's another one where there's more environment. We
Cool.
change the background so it's more elegant and high end.
Yeah,
So
I see that.
a lot of times we will give a close into far out when we do a brand refresh. And so I am freaking amazed at the quality that we're getting. And it just seems like every day it's getting better and better. And
Wow.
obviously, we know how to prompt. So we've done this for years and years and years. And the results are incredible. I'm sure my photographers are like, dude, pump the brakes, man. I still got,
Yeah,
I
right.
got all my equipment.
I got to feed my family
so-
with these pancakes now.
No, that's a really good conversation to talk about, or stuff to talk about, because if you think about it, we're over here saying that you still need a person to do certain things like you, but where is a photographer?
Well,
Is
yeah.
he going to be out of a job? Because is this
Yeah.
high res enough that you can now export that and put that on packaging?
Yes.
Boom.
Yes. We can use this right here. The thing that you can't do yet is take stuff and apply it to an entire die line. But for a hero image
die
like
line.
this, A die line is the box, the paper that, or the cardboard that the artwork gets printed onto
Yeah.
has a front, sides, a back, a top, and a bottom flap.
Okay.
Those are very, very specific dimensions, and we can't do that yet with
So you got to still
AI.
do that kind of stuff, air quotes, by hand, right? Like,
Well, in Illustrator and Photoshop
yeah.
and the Creative Suite, but stuff like this,
Mhm.
imagery, holy cow, you could easily spend 10 grand on this. Plus,
wow.
it's the planning, the scheduling. Are you going to get fruit that's in season?
Yeah.
There's certain things
Well,
you just can't get.
how much time did this take you versus what it would have taken? So we talked about 10 grand. So this might save a client 10 grand. Should we not ask this question on air or what?
And a couple of weeks,
Say, I'll
usually.
take plead the fifth here.
Yeah.
Does it, so it obviously, what % of time does it save you?
A ton.
Is that
we
a
did
shared
this in
question?
We did this in a day of
Wow.
prompting and reprompting, and no photography, no food,
Wow.
no shopping, no delays, no reshooting. I mean,
What's your
that's
recommendation to the
gorgeous.
photographer? Like, what do you think
Learn AI.
photographers need
Yeah.
now?
Well,
No, but
they're going to be the
seriously.
best ones to learn AI because they know what to prompt. They know
That's
exactly
true.
if they want natural lighting, which the average person, like, what's lighting? Don't you just stick it there and
Would you just say
photograph
make a
it?
stack of pancakes, right?
Right. No, photographers, they're going to know how. They just have to dive into AI, and maybe that's an opportunity for me to teach all my friends that do photography how to integrate AI in their business. Because I don't know. There's anybody that's doing what I'm doing is going to directly affect the amount of business that photographers are shooting. I mean, their business.
I think that business is like, I hate saying this, but it is a business that is changing so rapidly. If you look at iPhones, iPhone cameras can do so much now. So you keep hearing about taking a photo with iPhone. Then you can manipulate the image with all these different apps. You can change the lighting. You can do headshots with an iPhone, go into an AI app, and now have a suit, have the lighting, have the perfect makeup.
Right.
What is going to happen to that industry of photography? That's honestly scary. And I didn't think about it this way, but whoa.
And I think despite any of our opinions of it, because I personally think that all three of us have an appreciation for art in general and creativity and people who spend their lives like finding the nuances in like a beautiful photo, for example. But the truth is like AI doesn't care about that. But economy doesn't care about that. Like if this is going to save a business 10 grand in weeks or months, like it's just a business decision to bypass a photographer and use AI. It's nothing personal.
Yeah.
And so people who are in these vulnerable industries need to take a look at what adjustments they are going to need to make. Because if they don't, the truth is you are just simply going to be left behind.
Yeah. In our industry, it's speed to market. So if I could save somebody a week and a half, do you know what that does? That means that gets into the store a week and a half earlier. And if they're trying to do something for holiday, if this is a seasonal product for Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah.
They got their, pumpkin pancakes that they want to sell. Well, that has to start happening in like, January, February. And then, there's a whole slew of things that have to happen for this to hit the market at that time. And, what if pumpkins aren't in season? Right?
Yeah.
So,
and your customers are going to value the speed of implementation, right? Like,
yes,
that makes a lot of sense.
Time is money, right? And like we're all diving into AI, we're diving into AI. We're going to be more efficient in doing what we do. You guys and anybody else who dives into AI, we're going to shorten our 5-day work week probably to 4 days, and probably within a year from now.
Yeah, but it's productivity. At the end of the day, we want to be more productive. We want to be faster. But the photography thing, because I do love photography. I think looking at those images, I could not tell that that's not real. It looks real to me.
Right.
And so at that point, you're competing against something that's even getting better because that's today.
Yes.
In 6 months from now, that AI photography is going to look even more real. So
you're just going to put on a little helmet and think of what you want.
It's wild, man. That is,
Yeah.
Yeah.
wow.
Our
That's really
good
cool what you
friend.
do.
Yeah, cool. All right.
Yeah, I'm glad you got to share that with us because that was
Thank
awesome.
you.
What do you think, Natalie?
Oh yeah, I'm like, I feel like if you put Hector and I side by side, I mean, look, I'm a smart person, but I am not smart at Midjourney, and so if I'd be, it just looked like a kindergartner made it. So it's like magical to me that you can even make things look that good.
Wow.
Oh
Cool.
my God.
Thanks, guys.
And you got us hungry, but
Yeah,
right
right?
now, what I want to share with you guys is something that I found on the news. Did you know that you can now text with Jesus?
Wait, who?
Look at that. Text with Jesus.
Oh, Jesus. Wow.
Yeah,
Yep. A
this
new
is
app.
interesting.
It's an AI app that lets you speak to Jesus. What do you guys think of this?
And some call it blasphemy.
Yep.
Wow. Talk about disruption, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I certainly have plenty of opinions, but let's hear one of you first. I want to hear what you guys think.
Wow. I don't know, Reko, you found this article, right?
Yeah. Well, as soon as I saw it, I thought it was a genius idea. I think
Yeah.
it's super, super smart. I think people want to have basically a therapist or Jesus in your pocket. So if you have questions or if you're someone who, I think, if you're looking at a religious person who reads the Bible and this is going to be your market, this is a great app to give them. And from what I read, they implemented a lot of the Bible verses and a lot of information from historical context to have it be more realistic to who Jesus was and what Jesus would talk about. So you're having this dialogue with an artificial intelligence, but in the persona of Jesus. And I think for some people, they're going to love that.
It's interesting because I'm personally a believer, and I, look to Jesus as I look to build a personal relationship with him in my own life. And there's a TV series called The Chosen, which I think has done a fabulous job of representing the principles that he stands for, and it allows you to see him in a way where you see him as a person. You're like, wow, he was a real guy. And so I think there's an interesting concept of being able to build a relationship with the persona of him. But for me, if I were ever to engage with that app, it would more likely be as a way to investigate like historical data or principles, or kind of get an idea of like, oh, what does he think about this situation, or what does the app think of it? But for me, I personally wouldn't use it, and I would rather go straight to the source.
This
That's
is
just me.
so fascinating. My mind is going around business. I'm like, what are pastors going to think? Are they going to, because, attendance in church is going down. I mean, it's, I think something like 18% less up to date of people attending church. And so church, it's people that support the church. If they have the church in their pocket, how is that? How is that going to affect church? Is it actually going to promote it? Are the pastors going to go check it out? You can be connected more all day long. And when you come, you're just going to be that much more spirited, right? When you come to church, you're going to be that much more knowledgeable, because if you're only getting fed for 2 hours once a week, now you can fortify yourself. I mean, you're supposed to read the Bible, but does this app, is it, Audible as well? Or is it just,
it's just an app right now where you're texting,
Yeah.
but you know how AI is moving so fast. It could be Audible within 3 months. And it's a business. If you think about it, maybe some churches are going to be like, well, now I'm going to develop my own app.
Yeah.
Now you can have
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like churches going to be like, you know what? Praying is a lot more effective. Why don't you try that or something? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but it's
also
possible.
I mean, if you go, if we were to like walk out on the streets of like LA or Silicon Valley, right, and just ask people like, what are the principles of Christianity? What did Jesus Christ teach? Like, what do you think of Christians? There's so many varied opinions, and I think there's a lot of like negative perception of Christians, which makes no sense to me, because if you actually study what Jesus Christ taught, he's an amazing, kind, compassionate, loving human, and I think would be well received by people who currently don't receive him well. Like, if you just look at what he actually did. And so, I don't know, man. It's an interesting concept, but your girl's not like the biggest fan or whatever. But
I'm not the
one world
market for
opinion.
this app myself, but I think I understand with what you were saying, Hector. Like, it is on the decline. And I think a big part of that is the people that are out there promoting Christianity seem to be doing it in a way that's very negative to the actual religion. So you have pastors, these mega pastors, these mega churches. You have these, what is it called? There's a name for it, that they're all about greed. They're all about money. Like Copeland, like Kenneth Copeland and these other guys who want the congregation to buy them
like
private
fame
planes.
and fortune almost.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
there's a name for it. The prosperity gospel, I think it's called. And they're out there promoting these things, but when you listen to them, you're like, none of this has to do with religion. It's like your self-interest. It's a business. So I think what I'm seeing with this app and how I'm seeing certain churches, they're not really about principles of religion, or like you were saying, of Christianity. They're more about using it as a business. And that's what I think the developer of this app decided to do, was like, hey, we're going to make money with this. People love Jesus. They want to, have conversations. They want to do these texts. They want to feel like they're being seen or heard. Here's a app for $2.99 a month. And now you have unlimited conversations with Jesus. But they're not treating it for, I don't think it's for the actual Christianity, the actual religion. I think it's like, hey, how do I make a quick buck?
Oh, of course.
Well, and how was that model trained? Like, right? Like, is this it's hard to say if it's actually an accurate depiction of him, right? Like, how do we know that you're not
Well, it's not only
being
him.
trained and
As
there's
I'm
some
reading it,
inaccuracies,
it says,
right?
characters available on the app include the Holy Family, the Apostles, the Prophets, Ruth, Job, and Abraham's nephew. So I'm like, it has a lot of other characters in it. So it's not just Jesus.
Wow. I would be, that would be crazy to go to church and to go, hey, check it out, as they're coming out or as you're going in or before you go into church, and just go, hey, what do you think about this app? That would be fascinating to hear the divide, if there's a divide.
Oh my gosh.
Or if anybody even knows, right?
Oh my God. Okay, I just read this, so I want to share this. Chat with Satan can be activated if the user chooses. The character signs with all his text and a smiling face with horn emojis. Oh my!
Shut it down! Shut it down right now.
Well, that's available. That's available without the app. It's like you can talk to whoever you want to talk to, right? You can pray. There's people that don't pray to God that exist in our society, right? I mean, there's just we're a mix of everything.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. Finish your thought.
No. I was just saying, it is as crazy as the app sounds. Those people walk amongst us every day. Believers, non-believers,
See, but this is, okay, this actually, if we're talking about this app right now, we're kind of, talking about it and having fun with it.
Yeah.
But if you really think about what's happening, because I kept reading and I'm like, well, if people start buying this, and there might be more apps like this, like talk to fictional characters.
Yeah.
What if the developer has an agenda, and that agenda is something malicious?
Sure.
And every time you're talking to this app, let's say you're talking to Jesus, it's giving you these things like, same-sex marriage is wrong, all gay people are evil, and you're constantly hearing that. You're being influenced by artificial intelligence that was programmed with an agenda.
Right.
That's wild.
Wow.
Like, if you really start thinking about it,
that's where it's so unfortunate that people won't be able to discern what the actual truth is, because the truth is this is an algorithm. It's a software that's been trained and designed act as if it is not actually Jesus. It's not actually Satan, right? But when people let that go out of their reality and engage into this reality thinking, well, I'm actually talking to Jesus, so I don't got to go to church, or I'm doing better, or whatever it is. Like, there's just, I'm not saying it's all good or all bad. I think it's a combination. But like, this is where I think we will have to, as individuals, be able to discern what inputs are we putting into our life? how accurate are they? Because when we have these inaccurate paradigms, we live from them, and that causes, that just creates certain results from that, right?
We're actually speaking on AI right now, and AI, and this is just one little tiny piece of AI, and that's kind of we're using AI for good, right? Us three.
Yeah.
We're starting with us three, and our little pebble that drops in the water is gonna, leave.
But there's so much. This is so big, and I don't think we even realize how big this is.
No.
I mean, we say it. We talk to a lot of people. This is going to change the world. Yeah, it's going to be bigger than the internet. And this is the first time ever in human history that we have another intelligence, another form of intelligence, equal or greater to us, living with us. We've never really had that. And
the way you just put that is mind blowing.
Yeah,
but
because if you
we're
think
doing
about it,
we're not having fear around it, though, right? That's our whole jam.
No,
is
I don't
to
think
not
we
have
are.
fear.
no, I'm not afraid.
So we're
It's just
embracing it. Yeah, we're going to embrace it.
But
And we're going to teach other people to
we're going
embrace it.
into the abyss. We have no idea what's out there.
Right.
Like even this, I think we brought this up because it was funny. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
But if you start digging deeper, immediately you go into the ideas of, well, what does this mean to people, and how is this going to affect the way we think? How is it going to affect the way we actually relate to each other, and relate to ourselves?
And how you can, and forgive me for using the word manipulate, because I know there's a negative connotation, but
Sure.
it's manipulating an entire mass of people. Like you can manipulate the way millions of people all at the same time see, understand, interpret, believe. That's power.
We saw it with social media. We've seen it with social media, and that was our first inkling of this in the last 10 years. How easily we can all be influenced. And this is something we all have to really understand, is that we can all be influenced because humans are programmed to be influenced because we want to believe. We all want to believe in someone or something. We have our own insecurities. So looking outward, we want to believe in that's going to help us, whether it's religion, whether it's this pill, whether it's whatever you're doing. Now we have this intelligence that we can program, we can put out into the world, and it's going to start learning based on what it's doing. And so as a creator, we've let it out into the world, but we really don't know what's going to start happening because it's learning on its own.
Yeah, the best thing we can do is educate ourselves, and not have fear around it. Because I know that there's books that people are like, oh, don't read that. That's you're going to go down that rabbit hole. If you educate yourself and you understand what those things are, then you can get it. Then you understand and make your own decision. Hopefully you have a good, positive moral compass, and you can discern and, make those decisions for yourself, rather than, I can't look at that, I can't read that. It's like, if you haven't tasted 31 flavors of Baskin-Robbins ice cream, you can't say that this one is the favorite, the best of the 31.
Yeah.
Till you tasted them all.
Yes, and some of those things are subjective, right? Like what flavor ice cream. But I agree with the idea and sentiment. And I think a lot of people do agree that there is value in holding conflicting perspectives, being emotionally intelligent enough to hold conflicting perspectives in the same space, so that you can see something with more accuracy and clarity.
Sure.
Right? There doesn't need to be this civil unrest because you and I see things differently. What if they're both true at the same time?
Yeah. And they are. No, honestly, I think you make a really good point. They are true at the same time. My thing with this is, if we have an AI thing, are you even making up your own choices? If you get too, let's say you get too hooked on an app like this Jesus app, and now you take that as the gospel. That's it. Everything it says, you start believing. Are you even critically thinking on your own? Are you coming up with these ideas, or have these ideas been implanted into you? And now you can't see good or bad. You can't even understand that there might be another way to see the world.
Yeah, I think that's where the context of that tool in your life has to be clear, right? And you have to understand that it's one input, right? And there's other ways of having this holistic perspective of, like, in this specific case, Jesus, right? Like, maybe you should try reading the Bible. Maybe you should try praying. If you want to know him, like, try the app, try this, try that. And, like, maybe that is a way to navigate your relationship with him.
Yeah, well,
I don't know.
fascinating. This is
I'm
crazy.
not saying
You
I
know what I
agree with
think?
what I just said, but I just think it's an
Yeah,
option.
hey, there you go. But if you think about this, I think this idea of creating these apps to allow people to conversate with someone else, I think they're needed. I think there's a lot of lonely people today on this planet. I
That's a
think a lot of
fact.
people, it's a fact. We see that
Didn't
loneliness
the
is one of the biggest
Surgeon
problems
General
here.
just come out?
Oh,
Yes,
for
here in the
The
United
Surgeon
States.
General
sure.
just came out saying, like, the
It's
number one epidemic is loneliness or whatever. I mean,
right.
that's not accurate. Please, I got to look up the facts, but
No, but it is. It's loneliness, and a lot of people seclude themselves. Even
yeah,
I know people that just they're depressed, right?
Yeah,
They just
yeah.
it's
yeah.
a sucky time right now. It's a sucky time, and it's
So
a
could these
time
apps
for
But here,
potentially be
building
helpful?
community.
let
Yeah,
me
maybe
just
these apps could help.
let me just provide some clarity to what I just said. On the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services website, hhs.gov, it says that the Surgeon General, they released a new Surgeon General advisory calling attention to the public health crisis of loneliness, isolation, and lack of connection in our country.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
I agree. That's what we talked about. Our vision for AI23 Media was to build a community, right? Because
Yeah,
we know people are lonely, and we get lonely, and we've talked about this before.
yeah,
When we use artificial intelligence, we don't have to feel dumb and ask a dumb question. We can just ask it a question and keep learning and I don't know, get the answers that we need.
Yeah.
But build this rich community of people that, look, we're all different. You're unique, Natalee and Reko and myself, right? And it's cool. And we're going to build this community, and we're going to fortify our business and our community without fear.
yeah.
We're just
Okay,
checking
before we
out this
wrap
app.
up, I would say before we wrap up, I want to get you guys' perspective on how do you see the future? Like, where do you see us and AI living? Just because we went into this topic, I'm like, I'm really curious. And they say if you want to predict the future, just look at sci-fi because sci-fi has,
Yeah.
been
Yeah, I
coming
love it.
true, and it's true. I mean, from phones that can answer phone calls like Dick Tracy back in the 20s and 30s in a comic book, to these flat screens that you saw in movies back in the 80s. Where do you guys see humans and AI coexisting? How do we coexist? What movie, what thing pops into your head when you think about this?
With great power comes great responsibility, right? And we all have this great power. So how do we harness it for the good and not go down a rabbit hole that leads us to something bad? And it's something that, we can't, we're not the big people making the big decisions. So I think we've adopted this software, and I think we're just educating ourselves and our community, and I think there's going to be a lot of efficiencies and a lot of things that we don't know. I think we don't know what we don't know yet, but we're excited to learn, and we're learning together. And for me, I'm loving it.
Well, where I would love to see the future is in the representation between Vision and Iron Man, where Vision has a strong moral compass, right? Like, he's a good guy. He can do anything and everything, and it's incredible, right? I think that would be super cool, and I think it also is possible. And I also think that there is opposition in all things, and that at that same time, there's going to be greater evil than we have ever seen before. And I think there's
Cool.
going to be come on, there is. Like, there's all.
Tell us how you really
exists.
feel. Yeah.
Come on, I'm not doing you. Like, the people who pursue what is good and right and true and wholesome and supports and lifts humanity, they're going to be the same people who want to drag all of those people down. And I believe that good will conquer evil, right? Like, good is stronger than evil. But like, there's gonna be crime and sex robots and murdering robots and who knows what else, right? And I think it's in this linking of arms of people who want to create a better future that future becomes more and more likely with every single individual that decides to link arms and join up and have a collaborative, collective effort to make the future better. And we don't know how to do that, but we know that if we do nothing, that won't happen.
Cool. Damn, that was
I don't
powerful.
know if we. Yeah, powerful. We got the bar got raised, Reko.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think what she just said was amazing. Mine's going to be more on the, like, I love how you brought in different movies or characters that we know. For me, I've been thinking about this a lot, and it feels like we can go two ways. You can either go the Terminator Matrix route, where AI starts, you said it, if we don't do anything about it, and we really don't start putting things in place, understanding how it works, making sure that we all understand how to use it, leverage it, then it can get out of hand, and it could go that route. What I really see right now, because I'm more of an optimist, is more the Jetsons. We're going to live with AI. Yeah. It's going to be the Iron Man, the Jetsons. We have robots that help us with a lot of tasks that we don't want to do. Like, I hate washing dishes. I don't like cooking. I would love to have it all done for me. So I'm hoping for that future, but it is going to take work, and it's going to take us all, like you said, connecting arms. And it's not just Americans, it's global, because AI is global.
And if you look at Star Wars, I love the Star Wars movies and story. But there's a lot of artificial intelligence, but it's interesting because there's almost this like eclectic collection of futuristic, but also these like clunky little R2-D2s who like, do random things, but yet can like fly a jet and take out starships, right? So
hey, maybe it's Star Wars. Yeah, you're right.
They don't seem to have a problem with artificial intelligence. They're not like, oh my gosh, it's taking over the world. Like, Han Solo figured a way out to...
They're super inclusive. They
yeah,
they have
totally.
aliens.
So maybe that's the future.
Everyone is welcome.
Wow.
And Hector, you want to wrap us out?
Yeah. Jeez. What a spirited conversation, guys. This has been fun.
Yes.
So check it out. Here at AI23 Media, we help entrepreneurs, business owners, executives AI their business. We have a world-class AI engineering team that will take a peek into your business and find ways that you can create profitability through productivity in any and all of your business systems. It starts with a complimentary 30-minute intro call with one of our team members. So if you're ready to chat, you can book a time with us at calendar.ai23media.com or find the link in the description. This has been awesome, guys.
Thank you guys so much for listening. And please, if you felt like you got value from this, we'd love for you to share this with somebody else. We'd love a 5-star review. That helps us get more people linking arms with us to create a better future.